Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Systems Lab Live. We are here. This is the grand finale for the month of July, and I'm excited today. We are live on Instagram, we are live on YouTube, and we are live on LinkedIn. And so, what's cool about today's session has me thinking, has my wheels spinning. Because last week we talked about what does it mean to be an emotionally intelligent project manager? Okay. What does it mean to be in tune with me, myself, my emotions, my triggers? How am I leading? What the words that I'm saying? Am I really developing my team in the manner in which they need to grow? And me as a project manager, I'm talking about going from great to indispensable. And so in 2024, it's not about you're doing a great job, the multi-million dollar projects, the clients that you're getting, the awards and whatnot. This is about you being indispensable. This is about you being top of mind. And one of the ways to do that is what? Being emotionally intelligent. And so last week we talked a little bit about this. We touched on it, which was not being afraid to dive into conflict. But here's the twist for this week. Here is the twist for this week. Can we use conflict to spur innovation and growth within our teams? And the answer to that, my friends, is yes. And I'm going to be talking to you about how you're going to be able to do that tonight. Ooh, this is going to be so good. You need to share this with about 5 to 10 or 15 people that work in the industry of I manage all the things, I do all the things, I'm slacking, I'm clicking up with the ClickUp, I'm whiteboarding, I'm managing a team, I am reporting to the C-suite. You got to, even for your own self, even if you are a CEO and you're just like, you know what? I've been getting into it with some of my peoples. I want to make sure that I can use conflict to spur innovation, to bring about good problem solving, because it's all about getting to the goal. So this is going to be good, y'all. This is going to be super exciting. What's going on, Effie? How you doing? Good to see you. All right, so I'm going to pull up my handy dandy visual aid, people, the visual aid of all visual aids. I love a good Notability app, folks. Okay, let me make sure I got the right. Okay, I got the right app, because I be calling the things not the things. Oh, they want to know if I love the app or not. Well, tonight we love the app. I say tonight we love the app. We'll give the feedback later. So what do we want to do tonight? We're going to have 3 particular strategies that I want to ensure that we cover tonight. And so when you are all filing in, I know you guys are getting settled, grabbing your water, grabbing your snack. Maybe some of you are at the kitchen door, the refrigerator door, just opening some things up. Make sure you take out your notepad tonight. Make sure that this will be available for replay. We'll only be on till about 8:33-ish. But this is going to be a really good live stream, because this is really going to empower us to be better project leaders, better problem solvers, and better collaborators. So what do we want to do here tonight? We want to bring up our first point. Let's just get into it. Also, too, I would like to know a couple things. Number one, where are you logging in from? Like, where are you tuning in at? I'd love to know. Make sure you leave a comment. What are you working on right now? Tell me. And then what are you looking forward to in the month of August? What are you looking forward to? I'd love to know those things. Okay. So as we begin, again, the purpose of tonight is we're going to learn about 3 strategies tonight, where we're going to learn how we can use conflict as a strategy for innovation for our projects. So the first thing I want to talk about is, how do we facilitate healthy and heated discussions? And let me tell you something. I myself am someone who I actually love a good heated discussion. I used to think to myself, I didn't have a stake in the game, because I wasn't necessarily a decision maker. So therefore I thought, man, or this is what I used to think. I used to think, I'm not a decision maker. What does my opinion matter? And two, how was I able to speak up? Like, those were some of the things that would go through my mind when we talk about conflict, speaking up, being at odds with our fellow peers, or even our supervisors, our directors, or managers, maybe our clients and things, right? I just didn't feel like I had a voice in it. I just felt that if somebody is in charge, someone that is obviously has more experience than me, they know what they're doing. Who am I to say this is the wrong approach or the wrong idea? So I would go along to do what? Fill in the blank, to get along. And that's not something you should do. No judgment, no judgment. We all have done it, the go along to get along. But as I matured as a project manager, as I approached leadership differently, it came, I had an epiphany. It was through some conversations, it was through mentorship. And everybody got to have a mentor in some capacity, some sort of mentor in some way, shape, or form to urge you to speak up. Okay. So the first one is, like, again, facilitating healthy and heated discussions. Healthy and heated discussions. Okay. So how did I go from not saying anything, going with the flow, to facilitating heated and healthy discussions? Great question. I'm so glad that you're asking this. So for me, it was confidence. I had to start speaking up. I had to start to filter my thoughts, even in a really, what's the right word for it? A safe space. I had to start filtering out my thoughts, my ideas. I had to seek out really help and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking. Am I thinking in the right way? I would get course corrected. I would say, no, don't think about it this way. Yes, but make sure you add this. And just for a clear context, I work there's a few different scenarios that I'm thinking about. Been on a nonprofit board, been a part of teams, also working in policy, government, um, different spaces like that. And so, me being able to lock in on, number one, the subject matter, know it like it's the back of my hand, like it's grandma's favorite recipe. You know, when she would be in the kitchen and all she would have to do is all of this memory. And she would be so confident with knowing, like, sugar and, like, what you needed to put into the apple pie. You know what I'm saying? She would be able to, she knows what to do and how to do the things, right? You got to have that level of confidence. Number two, I also had to believe in myself as the Lord believes in me, as He has created me to be. He did not create me to be nobody's punk. Nobody's cowering down and like your limb is going to sit there and fall off because you spoke up. Even if I was loud and wrong. And all of us are going to have those moments. We're going to be loud and we're going to be wrong. But again, it is super, super important that we know that, hey, it's all about the effort that you put in, especially if you're not used to speaking up. So I went from not speaking up, and I think I done spelled this little discussions thing wrong. Here we go. Let me go back to this right quick. So I went from not being confident, slowly but surely. Oh, I see what I'm doing here. Oops. Here we go. Discussions. Okay. I was like, this is not being spelled correctly. Okay. How did I go from? I went from not speaking up, going on to get along. Then I went to speaking up a little bit. Then I had to lock in on my craft, lock in on the subject, and then start to formulate my own opinions. Then I was challenged to say, you need to speak up. And therefore I did. Then here's the next level. as you start to get the I see it. When I started getting called on more, hey, Ashley, wanted you to weigh in on this. Can I get your opinion on that? I said, ooh, you want my opinion? I love it. Then I started to gain that confidence. Therefore, when I am leading out meetings and there are some differing of opinions that are going on, there are some strategies that I started to pick up. Some strategies that really helped me not to run away from the conflict, but to say, okay, now that I see it, how can I use it? Because we still got to get to the end goal. And that's one thing I want to make sure that we understand is that when we're talking about turning conflict into innovation, and at the heart of all what I do, we're managing all the projects, the people, we're managing the deliverables, we're managing the personalities, we are getting over stumbling blocks. There's all sorts of action and activities. So, what I want to emphasize in this point is that when we're talking about facilitating heated and healthy discussions, there always has to be a goal in mind. There always has to be a goal in mind. So, make sure that you have that in mind, especially when people are starting to get a little rowdy. You want to have a goal, which is first and foremost, what is it that people are getting all riled up about, getting upset about? And then what you want to do is say, okay, we still have to get to the end goal, which is to solve a problem, right? We got to solve the issue at hand. So be sure to think to yourself, okay, I need to have a goal in mind. And one of the things that is so good about having healthy and heated discussions is that people care. People have a stake in the game. So, what you want to do is you want to take all of that energy and you want to say, okay, all right, I'm going to use it to my advantage. I want you all to think of questions that you can ask in context. So, asking questions in context. What do I mean by that? Because a lot of people, and this question, can be jarring, right? Depending on your tone, depending on your attitude. But whenever you ask that question, why? Some people might look at you crazy like, why what? Like, or isn't it obvious? I'm a big question asker. Oh, I love to ask a good few questions. What I always like to do is that if somebody's having a differing opinion, if we're getting into a healthy discussion about either a task, an approach, an idea, how to solve this particular problem, and it differs. And sometimes I feel like, there could be a little tension rising in my spirit. But then again, I always got to say, hey, you got to simmer because the emotions will trump what you're trying to say. That's a little bonus, little 1B dash, or I don't know how you want to write in your notes. But the emotions will always trump what you are trying to articulate and say. So I always ask the question of, and this happened just recently, which is somebody said, hey, Ashley, I think that this is the approach we should take. If this is where we want to move forward, we should make this decision. My question was, and literally in my mind, I was like, why? Like that was the immediate question. I was like, why? So here's what I did. I asked the question like this. So therefore, and this is why you have to position it in such a way in context to what the particular goal is. I said to this individual, I said, okay, can you tell me why this particular solution, this thought that you had leads to our end goal? Can you further explain? Sometimes people just need more time to parse out what the particular proposed idea, solution, or thought that they should have. Asking questions in context to what the person is saying, along with having a goal, helps you think more critically. It helps you think more strategically. It makes it take you from the personal approach of why. Therefore, when someone's asking the question, when someone's answering the question, a few things can come to mind. You can either agree with that person or it may spur other questions. So I want you to be mindful that when you're asking the question, it's going to be super important that you have some sort of follow-up that you may need. And so okay. I need to slow down. Okay, we'll get to it because there is an important point about when someone puts out a idea and then what happens when you come to a consensus. But that's at the end. We won't jump ahead. We will not jump ahead. So asking questions in context, asking why, asking someone to expound upon what their particular idea is, their solution, and again, why does it matter? Why does it matter? So you want to make sure that you have that in mind. I'm also a big proponent of letting everyone have an opinion. Let everybody speak up. Everybody speak up. Hello, even the quiet ones. Shout out to the people who are either half half in the battle and they're half like, okay, I just want to do my work and go home. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But let everybody have their say. So let everyone have their say. And I'm writing that down. Let everyone have their say. I'm a big believer in calling those individuals to say, hey, David, I'd love to know what your perspective is. What do you think? And I also love to ask this question too. Here's what I'm thinking. Can you course correct me? I love a good course correction because what that does, it allows someone to either say, yeah, you ain't thinking about that right. Like you're totally, totally off base. And I think that, my friends, is such an invitation to, again, healthy, and that meets the heated, healthy and heated. And it's good. Now, here's a key thing too, as well. When you're facilitating these healthy and heated discussions, it is important to make sure that you are also recapping what people are saying. I think and now you don't always have to be the primary person to do the recapping, but I think it's good for you to say, if I'm understanding you correctly, this is what you're saying. And I think this, my friend, this is a game changer tip. I do this all the time. If I'm understanding you correctly, this is what you're proposing. This is where you think we should shift. This is where you think that this particular step should take place. Am I hearing you correctly? Am I understanding you correctly? Come on. Oh, it's so good. It's so very good. All right, we're going to move on to number 2. Which is identify the root cause. This is, y'all, this is one of my favorites. Identifying the root cause. Because you know what? At the end of the day, people, somebody can be triggered by something. And so I'm going to go ID root cause. And so here's where I think that this matters a lot. This is where I think it matters, because oftentimes there may be a situation where perhaps a particular decision was made at one point, and maybe you're like you said, maybe you're in an organization, maybe there is a particular decision that was made in the past, and now that circumstances have changed, we're in a brand new environment. Now we may have to undo the decision. And so now that brings up a lot of feelings. People be having feelings, right? Because of old decisions and old ways of thinking. And so now there is this aspect of, wow, we're changing. So this might be an aspect of old school versus new school. And I do mean demographic wise. This kind of shows up demographic wise, where you got some old school people. They have sat with these decisions, it's worked. And then you got new school, meaning that the new school people could be from different industries, it could be age, right? But you got a new mentality. So you got old school versus new school. It may not be always be age, but we'll call it seniority. That's what we'll do. Seniority. So when you're identifying the root cause, especially when you have to make a change, that's when you have to dig in and say, all right, what's the real reason why you're against us moving forward or us changing this decision? What do we listen? Identifying the root cause is so instrumental, because again, you may not be able to even necessarily make somebody feel better. And let me just put a little pause in that, right? Because I think sometimes we feel that with conflict, that everybody got to be okay with whatever the final decision is, and we're going to talk about that in our third one. But you're not going to be able to make everybody happy, and B, you're not going to be able to sit there like a what is it, like cake, like you're cutting cake slices and say, you know what, here's your piece, here's your piece, here's your piece. No. So get to the root cause. It may be that somebody doesn't like a previous decision that's being made. Someone could be really like, you know what, this is just the wrong direction, I don't even like it. So identifying the root cause. It could be that it's actually someone doesn't actually like somebody. And my friends, that right there can really get into some interesting discussions and some healthy and heated discussions, all because somebody has some beef with somebody else. So the root cause, identifying the root cause. So let me give you this example. And again, it's going to go back into number one, where we're asking the challenging question, right? So there was a situation where someone did not want to release information. They weren't ready. They weren't prepared to present information. And this is with a whole group of people, right? Different departments, whatever. But we were still on one mission, and we wanted to be able to see this information, right? Because it affected different types of groups and how we communicated, outside, internal, external communications and whatnot. And so there was the declaration to say, oh, hey, we are not going to be able to move forward and, show you all this particular document, X, Y, and Z. We're not going to be able to do it. So some of that is, and again, identifying the root cause. I had an issue with it. Hey, I'm going to raise my hand. I had an issue with it. So I wanted to hear, as this individual was speaking, about, the preparation process and, when the, the timeline and everything. All I was asking for to say, can I get a draft? Can we see a draft? Can we just see a sneak peek? Not a full on review, but just a sneak peek. Just a sneak peek. And so here's also what spurred another question, right? I said to myself, can you explain to me the difference between document A for external and document B internal? Because I was literally going to ask another question that may or may not have tipped the scales in getting to the solution. So I get the answer, still not satisfied, right? And I got to the root of it. I got to the root of the issue. I asked the question, I said, if this is just a draft, and if I'm understanding correctly, it has this information, what is the specific reason why the group can't see it? Why? Now, I just said before, you have to ask questions in context. So I did say why, in context to not being able to give us a sneak peek. So we got to the root of it, which was, it's just not ready. It's just not that it's not ready. And so what I would encourage you is that if you're working with team members, they are looking to present information and maybe they aren't ready. I want you to create a safe space for them to preview it with maybe another team member, maybe with you, but make sure that you are able to uncover the root cause of the issue. So what's the and I also want to say too that we got to be careful with facts over feelings. Facts versus feelings. Because it's simply, my friends, not enough to say just because. No, 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 no. It's not enough to say just because. So this is why you got to get to identifying the root cause and seeing how it directly relates and correlates to the problem, the goal that you're trying to solve. And speaking of problem solving, goal and what the goal is, you want to, as a project manager, you want to encourage and foster collaboration through problem solving. That's what you want to do. You want to foster collaboration through problem solving. The goal is to always win. What do I mean by that? Win meaning you got to get to the solution. That's always the goal. That is always the goal. It's to get to the solution. That's the goal. And so what you'll want to do is you will want to always create an environment where you are asking the questions, you are facilitating the discussion, and that leads people to think of, all right, what is the best way to solve the problem? What is the best way to do it? And you want to just set that up. You want to set that up in such a way where you can take people's ideas, map it out. I'm a super huge proponent of using collaboration tools like Miro, decision memos. Come on, corporate people. Those that might need to bring in a senior level exec and say, hey, we need you also to weigh in on this. You want to be able to foster that collaboration. So I'm going to put right here, you can do Miro. You can also do, decision memos. That's what I said. I said a decision memo. It's for my corporate peeps. A little decision memo. Get all the solutions, have everybody weigh in. You can do it live. You can have people do it asynchronously and then bring back people together. But doing it live, I think it's good. I think you kind of get a little bit more excitement, get the juices flowing. But again, it's all about fostering that collaboration through problem solving. The last point I do want to make on this is, can you defend? Can you defend that particular outcome? Whether it is changing an approach, maybe it's a new deliverable, maybe it is a new strategy, whatever that is, I think it's so important to know and to think this through. Can I defend this change? Can I defend at the end of all of this that we're doing? Always think about, can I defend it? Which means, my friends, you're going to want to think through. We got to bring up my favorite word, scope, the scope of the project. You want to talk about resources, money, time. So when we talk about the facilitating of heated discussions, identifying the root causes and fostering the collaboration through problem solving, all of this needs to lead through how we can be able to defend the solution at hand. Because whatever the conflict is, it can really literally make or break a project, make or break a project team in terms of the dynamics. And it can make or break the direction of whatever program, project, or initiative that you have. I want you all as project leaders to stay loose, stay agile. Don't get too invested, emotionally invested, that you cannot see clearly, especially other people's decisions. If you have programmers, if you have creatives, if you have other people that think differently, you wanna get their perspective. You want to get a clear understanding of why a particular approach would help warrant the entire project to move in a different direction. And so here we are, understanding how we can literally use conflict to spur innovation. And I'm excited about that because I think at times that we don't give enough credit to disagreements and why a particular project is not going in the right direction, or why certain aspects of a task, a deliverable, something is amiss or off. We do not give the opportunity to have conflict to take center stage and to be able to use that to spur new ideas, new innovation, new ways of thinking. So here we are, my friends. And that's all that we have today for tonight's Systems Lab Live. I'm excited. And next month, hey, we're going to have a good time. We're going to have a good time in August. So you all do me a favor. Make sure that you share this live stream. Make sure you subscribe if you have not subscribed at all. And I look forward to talking with you all soon. Have a good rest of the week. See ya.